Oh god. Okay. Welcome to the No Time Records podcast.
Yay!
Today we have special guest Dylan from Pig City and the Not So Fast Children.
I love that you brought that up.
I mean, it was your band for what? Over almost 2 decades.
Yeah, I feel like I really actually I learned how to be in a band because I toured and played on a lot of early Slow Children material. So
were you there from the beginning?
I was not. The beginning was Nathan and Justice Prophet, and I think this dude Grady, who also went to our high school, and I think Justice and Nate's sister Hannah originally started off in the band too, but it eventually turned into 90s Mike, Nate Prophet, Justice Prophet, and they just had a slew of bass players. They could never hold on. And eventually I was just I'll do it. For real. And they're like, fuck yeah, get in the truck. We're gonna go play to nobody. And we did.
How long were you in the band for?
I was in the band from first tour, I think I was only 17. So I think it was 2 or 3 years, and then I moved to Flagstaff, Arizona for college. And they it's funny because the guy that replaced me is also my friend, whose name is Dylan, spelled the exact same way. So it's like nothing even changed. They just swapped for Dylan. You know what I mean? But yeah, dude, those were some pretty funny first experiences with that band. So I'm really grateful for it.
Yeah, you guys are one of the SoCal bands. When I remember first getting into DIY, that Slow Children was the, because you guys kind of started because it started fizzling out when I started getting into DIY and independent music around Southern California. I always saw that you Slow Children was headlining or always they would be opening for huge bands.
Yeah,
yeah. So you played for 3 years and then moved to Flagstaff and then didn't come back?
No, not really. They wanted to kind of move forward, and even while I was in the band, they had we kind of did it's a mix of almost these heavy influence from NoFX and Propagandhi. Later on, they all got really into Title Fight, which is so fucking funny. All these people who otherwise would pre-order their punk rock bowling tickets. Have you heard of Title Fight? Yes, dude. I've fucking heard of Title Fight. But it's in a good way. It changed everyone's trajectory, and they put out some really interesting music when they were all in their Title Fight phase. The downside is I really believe that the band didn't get the credit it deserved. My cat just knocked over a bunch of shit. Are you fucking serious, Ivy? You think that's funny? Anyway.
What'd you knock over? Can you not say? Can you not say? It sounded like glass.
It was glass, dude. God damn it. This is great. This is what everybody wants to hear too.
We got an exclusive. We got a Dylan disciplining Ivy exclusive right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hey, how was the podcast? Oh yeah, we had Dylan from Pig City on. He just fucking yelled at his cat the whole time. He yelled at his cat and said bad things about his bandmates and Slow Children.
I had to kick my cat out before this because otherwise he would have been pawing out the door. Oh, my girlfriend looks mad at me for doing that.
Yeah. My girlfriend came out and took Ivy as well, so we're all good now.
There you go.
But yeah, man, I don't think Slow Children got the credit that they deserve. The band went through a lot of stages, did put a lot of hard work in, mainly because of Nathan Prophet and Mike Cantrell, and Justice reluctantly, I think, played drums on a few tours too, just because he knew that I think it would help him out in the long term, and it certainly did. So.
Because I think it cemented a lot of those guys' later music careers.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Especially, I mean, Justice is obviously the big one. There's no question about it. But yeah, everything I do, to this day, my friendships and how I network with people and just tell people I have a new band or want to do a new thing. It's just because of Slow Children. I learned everything because of just playing in that band. So it was really fun.
What do you have any kind of fun memories from that era, touring, especially because you were relatively, like, were you still in high school when you started touring?
Yeah. I was still in high school. I had like, yeah, it was weird for sure. I had no idea like kind of like what to expect. I was like 17, like just textbook useless. You know what I mean? Like you can't do anything with that, dude. Yeah, one memory that sticks out. It was so weird, man. It was like it was like a script for like a bad movie. Like we played the show in Boise, Idaho,
Yeah.
and like the tour was around the holidays. So like we show up and we're like, hey, what's up? Like, we're the touring band from California, and like everyone at the show is like, so we're like, oh, okay, and they're like, this is our annual Christmas show, and it was just like a bunch of like random local Idaho musicians just all doing like just Christmas songs all night long, and like we just like had to play last.
Oh,
and, like no Christmas songs. Oh my god, dude, it was so weird. That was so uncomfortable. And like that, we came back to that same club years later because like that same like venue did this thing called Punk Rock Mondays. You can just see where it's obviously our niche demographic, and so like we'd always play Boise like on Mondays because it was like Punk Mondays.
what like were they punk bands covering Christmas songs, or was it just like, hey, this dude's gonna get up with a guitar?
Both. It was, dude, Tommy. It was so bad. It was so bad.
Oh God, Fern, has Corrupt Vision ever been cursed enough with having to play last as a touring band? I think we've gotten pretty lucky so far. We've had to open a bunch, which sucks. But
yeah.
I think the only time we ever had to play last as a touring band was when Insomniac Collective got double booked with that psychedelic rock show. I was also double booked with was triple booked with a hip hop show.
That sounds like there might have been a lot of people there though.
Yeah, not at 12:30 when we finally got to play.
Fuck. Yeah, that's the worst. Because like that honestly sounds like a solid draw. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to sit through any of it, but like it sounds like there was probably like a decent draw at the door.
We did out of like pity. I think all of the psychedelic rock bands were from Sacramento, and then we were the only touring band with Mario, and then they just gave us all the door money because they were like, hey man, we just wanted to have this show. It's like their like this band's like last show ever, and it's like, we're sorry, and it's like, it's cool, you know, trying to be that optimistic, like, oh, it's, we could combine the shows. There was no crossover.
That's how it goes. I love that though. I love hearing those stories, man. I feel like everybody thinks that this shit is like really fun sometimes, and it's just like it's just weird. Like you're just constantly in these weird situations, just like waiting to play like your 15 minutes of like aggressive music.
Does Pig City, being that you guys kind of have your fingers in a lot of different pies, I didn't kind of think of a better euphemism, but the fact that you're kind of power violence, you're kind of crust, you're kind of hardcore. Do you guys get booked on kind of specific shows, and you kind of have to tailor your sound to whatever you're playing?
Yeah, it's Arizona's pretty cool. When I first moved here, I noticed really quickly that, like, for example, when I was trying to play in like Slow Children, and like I was in another band called Spring Break 95, which a lot of people I think.
Holy shit! Really?
Yeah. I was in Spring Break 95. Those were all like my songs.
Dude, holy shit.
Yeah.
I fucking loved you guys back in the.
Oh my God.
I remember, yeah. God, that fucking brings me back, dude.
Didn't you book Spring Break 95 for a high tension show?
Y'all said no.
Oh.
That's not surprising. Like, we were like a really bad group together.
Yeah.
Like the drummer, our drummer Josh, he goes by Gallo, ended up like having like also a very, very successful like run in hip hop, and he's doing incredible things. Like, I'm so stoked to call him a friend. And the other guy, Jake, sold all of his stuff and like just like lives in Colorado. Like, no one's seen him since. I have no idea if he's okay. I think he's good. And yeah, that was a weird band too. But yeah, I guess the point I was trying to make was like when I was in like Spring Break and like, Slow Children, it was competitive. Like, oh fuck, Ceremony's coming to town. Like, man, I really want to play with Ceremony. And it's like, motherfucker, like nobody in a ceremony crowd wants to sit there and watch Spring Break 95 or Slow Children, you know, like you're shit out of luck. And whereas like when I moved to AZ, like it'd be like, for example, like a band of ceremony size would come to town and promoter would just be like, what's up, you guys want to open or what? Like, what? Oh, okay. And so like, and I mean that in a really good way. It's a little bit of a smaller pond, and people were like, they're just totally down for like the metal, punk, power violence, and hardcore shows get intertwined pretty regularly. Like, you know what I mean? Like we've played with, like, you know what I mean? Like we've played with Infest and we've played with Marauder. You know what I mean? Like so like yeah, I love it. I really do. That's why we kind of did the sound I wanted to do. Just like want to put everything I like kind of like in a smoothie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't have to feel like you're like, oh, we got to be a really good crust band, and we're just gonna try to open for Doom when they come through, and that's it. It's like you have the freedom to be able to kind of just mix whatever you want.
Yeah,
being that you
totally.
don't have to, you're not trying to compete with so many other bands in your area.
Yeah, dude. The thing that like I tell people sometimes, the like just like for like I guess perspective is like when I was like playing in bands in Southern California, like I just remember like it was like, oh, like, do you think we could play this show? And it's like, no, dude, like Rocking Out is technically a local band. It's 2006. You know what I mean? Like you're not getting asked to do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like we just like sucked at networking, and we sucked at everything that involves like being cool and like being band, like being in a band. And so it took me years to like learn everything. I still do embarrassing shit, you know?
Like bringing those big ass amps into program when you knew damn well they wouldn't fit.
I mean, yeah, exactly. It's like stuff like that, dude. All the constant.
That wasn't embarrassing, but I just thought it was. I was like, that's fucking. It's just how Pig City is. I think I tagged you guys in the meme of. I think it was like an office meme of like, that's the stage. Yep, and it's just like it's like a piece of cardboard on like a corner of like a bar. I was like, fucking Pig City's gonna bring in their 2 full stacks in here.
Yeah, dude, and again, totally another like embarrassing like thing that we've done. Like we got to play with the Impalers when they were like touring off of like Cellar Dweller. And so I was like, oh, this will be hilarious. Like, let's bring 2 bass cabs in full stack, like everything. And yeah, like we just like had all of this power up on stage, and like just like second song in, like the power just like went out, you know, and like just,
oh god,
just kind of like derailed like the momentum of the set, and just like, and then on top of that, like the breakdown was like just awkward because we had all this shit up there. It's just like dumb shit where it's like, dude, like why did we do that? We only needed like, you only ever need 1 4/12 and 1 8/10.
I speaking of dumb shit, I remember helping you guys with trying to reroute your tour that you did in the winter last year.
Exactly. See, we're so stupid. Like
it was a big W. It was a big M. You guys were planning on what was it, Orange County, and then like San Jose, and then like back down to like Los Angeles, and then like up to Reno, and then back down to Vegas.
Yeah, it was like
it
really
was something insane like that. And then all of your Bay Area dates fell through, and then you basically just stayed in Southern Cali for like 4 days, and then you just played Vegas and left.
We went up to Reno too.
Oh, you did? I forgot you did go to Reno.
Yeah.
Was that a good show?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was sick. Yeah, we did have to play. We had to play a bar. It was like 21 and over, but it was really cool, and we actually made a bunch of new friends that night, and it's not something I was expecting to do, but yeah, it was actually really good. I remember you and I talked briefly, and it was like, you know, don't skip Reno. Reno's a fun place to play.
Reno's phenomenal, and I think it's similar to Arizona, where it's even the same, where there's like less. They're kind of isolated up there, because like with Phoenix, I feel like you guys can hop in between Flagstaff and Prescott and you know,
Tucson.
bands from those there. Yeah, Tucson. But like with Reno, it's kind of like, well, someone in the Bay Area can drive 3 hours here. Other than that, or no, someone from Sacramento can drive like 3 hours here. But other than that, it's kind of we're isolated. So everyone kind of just, no matter what show is happening, it doesn't matter if it's hardcore, folk punk, emo, whatever. Just the whole scene just goes.
Yeah. I noticed that for sure.
Out shows, and everyone just kind of plays with everyone up there, because it's like, yeah, that's all we got.
Yeah, that's like so sick though. Like I feel like that's just the way to go. I fucking love it when I show up and it's like, hey, I think like every band on this bill is like kind of different, but like still like also kind of the same. It's a good feeling.
Yeah. You talking about isolated bands? It's always like crazy when you see like bands from like Hawaii or like Alaska that like they'll be like the only punk band in that genre, and then like a huge band will come through to do like a special one-off show, and like they get to open for them because it's like that there's no one else.
Yeah, that's sick.
Like I guarantee you, there's like like one of every band in Alaska, and like that's it. You know?
Yeah. I've always been curious about that. I don't know. Maybe I'm sure somebody knows because, like, okay, like that band Cult Leader, they did like this like weird, like it was like 4 dates specifically, like just in Alaska. It was like just like a strictly like Alaskan tour that they did a while back. And this was like a couple years ago, and I just remember thinking like that sounds like so cool for so many different reasons. But like, who do you play with?
I would imagine just any locals that would possibly sound like you at all.
Yeah, it could get interesting pretty quick.
We had our friends in this band called Dogtooth and Nail, and they're like a 2-piece, like kind of folk punk band. And they went up and just stayed in Alaska for a month, and they played like a shitload of shows up there. And they just like they said that they made so much money doing it because everyone has money up there because of like oil. You know, it's all oil money.
Yes.
And they, they're so used to not having, out of town music that it's just like, we'll throw whatever you need, whatever money you want, we'll fucking pay you for this. Thank you for coming to our bar.
Full blown folk punk dream right there.
Yeah, I mean, and they drove there, which is like crazy.
That's
They drive through Canada and in the fucking storms, or the fucking ice storms and shit to like drive into Alaska, which to me I feel like you would just fly.
Yeah, it seems like a really, I mean, obviously to all of us who are like don't really know anything about Alaska, it's like it seems like just like an insane place to just eat and try, and like let alone try to have a fucking punk show.
I'm always curious about does DIY exist in like these tiny kind of not totally quarantined or like section off parts of the country, but like what is small town isolated DIY like,
Yeah, I think like because like one of my friends' bands they've been to Hawaii multiple times, and it was like but they like booked a show there, and like it's like basically like a high school like cafeteria room, but like with a bunch of folding chairs like set up for people to like sit and watch. So they said that was kind of funny, but they said it was still cool nonetheless. But yeah, they did like a few dates in Hawaii, and that was the vibe. But like, okay, here's some folding chairs. Like everybody, come watch the punk band.
It's just putting on the newspaper like, hey, come out.
Yeah,
they're here for a day.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what it is, right? They enjoyed themselves, so I have nothing bad to say.
What band was that went out?
It was the Cryptics.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Tito. Yeah.
He's a hardworking dude.
He is incredibly hardworking. The first show that we had to cancel because of quarantine was a Cryptic show.
Dude. Yeah, they were like they're from New Hampshire, and they were like in Southern California as the whole country is shutting down. That must have been awful.
Yeah, it was funny because it was like, I mean, it was it was not funny, but it was we had our friend Paul from New Zealand through the week before. He got incredibly lucky because he was only touring for like 4 days. He flew out, was going to go up the coast with another band, and then if it was like a week later, he would have been fucked. Like everything would have been shut down. It was like March 4th is when we played. Jesus. And after that show, I went back to school, and then like Monday was like, hey, all the other schools in the area are shutting down. Fern, you remember those? And then Tuesday it was like, Monday was like, we're not shutting down, and then Tuesday's like, all right, we're going online. Finish up this week, and then we're done. And it was just weird, like watching school like completely shut down. But that same week was the Cryptic show, and it was like to the point where it was like Monday, I was like, I guess we're having it. Tuesday's like, all right, we're gonna have 30 people. Wednesday's like, we're not. It's not happening.
Yeah, you know what, I do vaguely remember you posting about that, because we were all, nobody knew what to expect yet, and like we're just all sitting here like just watching everything just kind of shut down. So I mean, in hindsight, obviously,
It was the right call, but
it was the right call. But yeah, but again, like it didn't last long. People decided to, I think, kind of attribute ideology to a virus which has none, and so here we are.
Are people playing shows in Arizona right now?
No.
No, you haven't. Have you seen any flyers?
I've seen nothing.
Wow.
Like no one. Again, no one that I would trust to book a show, or anybody that we like to hang out with or do shows with or whatever. No one has done anything like that.
Nice. That's not the case in Orange County.
I know. I saw I saw a story from a certain group the other day that made me a little disappointed. So I know who you're talking about.
Well, you know what bar is defying the man and keeping the music alive. You know exactly what bar I'm talking about.
I know. I do, and you know what? I cannot say I'm surprised.
Yeah. Speaking of that bar, when you guys played that show the night before ours in winter, it sounded awful.
You know what? It was, and it also was, but it wasn't. Like, for one, we sounded good, and everyone that watched us that night had never seen us before. So, that's a small victory. And like, two, you know what, man? Like, fucking, just because like we had like a record out and a little bit of a small amount of hype online, like we're not entitled to a great set time. I accept that. So, it sucked, but it was very typical. To me, I expected it 100%. I was like, yeah, I wouldn't expect anything less than this. I think my bandmates were a little shocked, a little irked at first, but I think in hindsight, it's like, you can't expect people just to bow to you just because you're on the road and like have a record out. That's that's not a qualifying. That's not really something that anyone really needs to give you much attention to, especially when you're hopping on another band's show that probably asked for like a $2,000 guarantee.
Yeah, I remember texting you. I was like, so it's 10 bands.
Oh my god!
And it's starting at 7:00 at night.
Yeah, dude, that was so rough.
And I was like, you guys are gonna get done at like 4 a.m.
Yeah, sure enough, it pretty much did. It got done at like 2 a.m. The headlining band, air quotes, with their $2,000 guarantee, more or less, couldn't even play their own, air quotes, classic punk songs. Like they had to like stop and start multiple times. It's just like, this is ridiculous.
Just let it die.
I think with that band specifically, yeah, they're like some like old, you know what I mean? Like I've been that guy. Like I've been in like old guy punk bands before. Like,
yes,
like there are some bands that can like still really fucking like bring it. It sounds fucking sick. Like don't ever stop, And there are others where you're like, I don't know about this.
Have you had any chance to be like writing and not recording, but at least like writing or working with Pig City during all this?
Yeah. Thanks so much for asking. No, we started doing like masking up 6 feet apart, going back to like where we practice and trying to crank out some new music. We're gonna go record it at the end of this month. That's all I can really say for now, but I'm hoping to announce what we're actually doing soon. But yeah, we've got something in the oven, so to speak.
Nice.
Yeah.
You guys have a do you want to say if it's a split, a EP, LP?
Yeah, hopefully it's a split.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I would, there's not too much mystery here. Again, it's like, who fucking cares? Like we have like 1,000 followers online. You know what I mean? Like I'm not keeping a secret from anybody.
Do you trying to think. Are you bummed with the whole? We excited on going out with Livid?
Yes, very much so. Like, dude, like I like for so many different reasons. But the biggest one, like from like 2010 to like 2016, like I didn't play in any bands or make any music. Like I played with Spring Break '95 like intermittently, but like we didn't do like any like serious touring. We didn't put out anything cool. And so yeah, like when from 2018 to like now, like I was like, dude, this is so sick. Like Pig City's doing well. Like I mean, I went to Europe with Battalion of Saints. We have this other band here in Arizona called Lychee, kind of like Weezer with more reverb is kind of the vibe that we go for. And things were just going really well. Like we're just getting asked to play all these cool things, go on tours. Like we had the record come out, and I was really bummed because I'm really making up for lost time here. Like my years in college and grad school really set me back in a lot of ways.
Plus, with the fact that you were telling me about how badly you just want to go, you just want to do it, you just want to go out and you just want to tour, you just got to do it. Yeah.
I seriously, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna be in my 20s much longer. There's a cat. Like Fern and I were joking about like the trajectory of, like the aging punk and hardcore dude. Like it's it's funny, and then until it's not, you know what I mean? Like it's just like, oh fuck, dude. Like I'm 35. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Why am I gonna go sleep on this person's floor? But you know what I mean? But you will. But it's a constant internal battle.
Yeah. Do you? I always think about like getting older with being in a DIY touring band or recording band, and like what is it? Because like in your 20s, it's like I'm impenetrable and nothing can hurt me and
Except
nothing
COVID.
matters. And then except for COVID, but then you hit like what do you do when you're 30? What do you do when you're 40? Do you keep doing this?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who I think are like really awesome who absolutely still have, but I think that it gets to a point where like if you don't like, well, no, that's not accurate either. I think like, dude, if you still feel able-bodied and you still feel down to do it, and maybe you have a job where you have time, paid time off or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's worth it,
Yeah, and I think it's. But there's a couple bands that have that I know of and had older members that were still very much DIY touring, as cushy as they could be, because they would have actual jobs, and this was on their vacation times, but they would they'd still rough it, so to speak. They'd still be staying at houses. They'd still be using their cars. They wouldn't be flying out places and all that.
Yeah. I can think of a couple bands off the top of my head as well who are exactly in that boat. It's like they're hardly considered like to be like a professional band, but they've all been doing it for so long. Like it's like no problem. Like we put out a release. Let's do a quick tour.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I really do.
So you played in Battalion of Saints?
I did.
How long did you play in Battalion of Saints for?
I played in Battalion of Saints just through 2018.
Just that whole year?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything they did for that year, which was 3 Southern California shows and like basically a month in Europe.
How was the month in Europe? Where'd you guys go?
Oh man, that's a lot. That's a whole separate podcast. I feel like we went. We oh my god, we went to a lot of places. Fuck, Jesus, Tommy. It was good though. I had a good time, even though I feel like everyone I was with probably didn't think so. But that's I liked it. It was fun. I like touring, to an extent.
Was there any risk of you guys were you guys on there on work visas, or were you guys there?
No.
Oh, okay.
Me and Mike just brought our passports because me and Mike did the whole travel together to get out there. It's pretty funny. Dude, Mike's wild, man. Like he didn't sign his passport when we were going through. Like he just never signed it, and so like customs agent was like, "You didn't sign your passport," and Mike looked right at the dude and was just like, "It fucking says we the people on it. I ain't fucking signing it," and like they just let us through. What the fuck? Every checkpoint that we went through, I was just like, oh fuck, like here it comes, because like dude, like Mike's like wearing his like Millions of Dead Cops shirt to the airport, you know what I mean? Like I just love it. like just not giving a fuck. Like everywhere we went, he was just like fuck you, you know. And they just keep letting us across these like borders, like oh my god, like so yeah.
You're like,
he told me
like-
he wasn't gonna sign his passport because it said "We the People" on it. Like he didn't even realize how awesome, but also like just ridiculous of a thing that is to say to a customs agent.
so like because the thing with Europe is it's not like the States where you just go. It's a different country, so you were constantly doing this.
Yes, dude, we crossed so many borders.
Were they just like, fuck it, I don't want to deal with this?
Over there, they're very used to the summer like festival circuit, so they see like so many bands, and so they just kind of like will open up the van, look at your passport, and be like, yeah, okay, you probably suck, you know, and just, you know what I mean?
They probably realize that you're not like making millions of dollars doing this.
Yeah, I think I think with us specifically, that was very obvious.
I know with a lot of, I mean, it's got probably really different now with Brexit. I know with touring in the UK it's very sketchy because they, if you're going on a travel visa, but then you're clearly have instruments, you're clearly in their eyes working.
Yep. You don't want to fly. You don't want to fly into the UK is kind of what I've been told. I'm not as experienced as I think some of the people who you'll probably talk to later on down the line. Yeah. But we flew into Berlin and they didn't think anything of it.
It's good to know. It's good
to
know. I know it sounds like a nightmare.
So yeah, you know what? It kind of was. It was a lot. It was a lot of moving pieces, and yeah, it was cool. We played a lot of like I got to play like Rebellion Festival like in the UK. You know what I mean? Like I'm like on the same stage. I'm like on the same stage as like Public Image. Like that's insane. Like what am I doing here? Like I fucking can barely hold this bass. Like I can't believe I faked my way all the way to Rebellion Fest. We played that Ypres Hardcore Fest too in Belgium. We played one festival in Copenhagen that was pretty wild. Like, just like how I fucking suck. I can't believe this is sick.
Did you guys get on? Boomtown?
No, the festival we did in Copenhagen is called the Murder Twins Get Down. These two like identical twins just like bring out a ton of sick like 80s US hardcore bands and just like book a big fest every year. It was like we played our night, like the three headliners, it was TSOL, Dayglow Abortions, and us.
Wow.
Yeah, we played in between the two of them, and we hadn't played a show together in months or like practiced or anything. And like this is the first show of the whole tour. And yeah, it was pretty nerve-wracking. It's like, oh fuck, like Dayglow Abortions up there just like killing it. You know what I mean? Like TSOL is like going on after us, like, you know what I mean? Like Jack Grisham and like Mike Roche are just like standing by the stage, like, all right, let's watch this like 20-year-old play some fucking 80s songs, like
he wasn't born yet.
Dude, yeah, like you could feel that a lot too. Like everywhere we went, like I felt like it was like Battalion of Millennials was like the joke I kept like making. But
is the lead singer the only original member?
Yeah, he's one of the only members that is still living. Joey Maya is still alive. Joey Maya, I think, played drums late 80s with Battalion. So,
is it how does it feel like playing in a band like that you're not I don't want to take away from your contributions, but it's like obviously you weren't what made Battalion of Saints what Battalion of Saints is, but your position is to like present. How does it feel to kind of be a part of a band that you had grew up listening to potentially and help keep it alive this long?
Yeah. No, that's a good question. It was honestly like I didn't feel as much pressure as like if I was like, oh fuck, like I'm going to Europe on this. We're playing a bunch of festivals and club shows like with my band, like with like music I fucking wrote with my friend. Yeah. Like it was just like I learned 45 minutes worth of Battalion songs, and George was cool. Like he didn't care. Like if I didn't do like the exact like for example like the song like I Want to Make You Scream, which is like pretty cool track, but it has like it has like, you know, some like it has like a bass line in it, right? And you know, he didn't care if I didn't do that like note for note or anything like that. So it was cool. I was able to just kind of like just wanted to make sure I played everything pretty close to the original as I could. And a lot of the people that came to our shows, like they were cool about it too, you know, like, you know, they're like all older.
Yeah.
Like,
Do they
yeah.
people kind of get what the situation is?
Yeah, totally. Except one guy in Poland was really mad that I wasn't an original Battalion of Saints member. Like he like grabbed me when I got to the show and he was like, "Hey, what band are you in?" And I was just like, "Battalion of Saints." And he was like, "Oh, no." And then he yells at everybody else, "It's his fake band." So yeah. He was pissed. Well, that show was stressful too, because like we got in this gnarly traffic jam where like the freeway, for lack of a better term, in Poland was just like a parking lot for like 5 hours. And so like Tino, believe it or not, like actually he just like put on some gloves and like and just grabbed a walkie-talkie and just like started moving traffic, like pretending like he was supposed to be doing it. And everyone was like, "Well, he's got gloves on. I guess we'll move all the cars." And so like he got everybody out of the way and we were like able to like book it through traffic. But like we were so late to the show that like we got there and like everybody just like started like they like mobbed our van, like tried to like tip it over and shit. Like it was so gnarly. It was the worst. It was so tense, dude. Like everyone was so pissed. But like they're pissed, but they're still like, "All right, set up and play us Battalion of Saints songs." We're like, "Okay," but like, yeah, they were ready to. They were so.
I were murdering you.
Play the song. Dude. Yeah, they were like, "I swear to God, if you don't fucking get up here and fucking play, my mind's diseased. I'm gonna lose it." You know what I mean? Like,
my mind will be diseased if you do not play the song right now.
Yeah, lucky for them, we opened with it. So, but yeah, that was really intense. That like really shook me up, honestly. Like just turning the corner and then like having like a mob of people trying to tip your fan over.
from a country you've never, you know,
dude, yeah. Yeah, it's like, you know, it's like basically midnight in Poland. I have no idea where I am. Like, it's like weird. Like, they're simultaneously trying to tip the van over. Then they get out. Then they're mad that I'm fake banned, apparently. And then, like, you know, 2 minutes later, like, "What, do you want vodka?" Like, oh my God. Like, yes.
It's a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
So many emotions they have to go to. It's like, well, they're fucking late. Oh my God, it's not actually them. Fuck it. I just want to hear the songs. Let's go. Get them drunk.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So I haven't told anybody about that story in a really long time. So
I love the idea of just throwing gloves on and just fuck it. Let's just get traffic out.
Yeah, dude. I respect Tino's work ethic a lot, and it's stuff like that. Like he just gets the job done, and he doesn't care if what he's doing is blatantly illegal. Like he's going to get his bands to where they need to be. You know what I mean? Like he just, you know what I mean? Like there's like stuff that like would phase you and I. Like, fuck, I'm in another country. We're in this like crazy traffic jam. I have no idea where we are. Like it didn't phase him at all. Like I'm just gonna put these gloves on and pretend like I work for the city. Hold on, you know, like just so.
Was it enough to get just your van out?
It was actually able to move traffic as a whole. What he had discovered as he like ran to the front of the traffic jam was that, it had turned out that the whole reason why we were jammed up in the first place was there was an accident. The accident got cleared, but the accident was so bad that a bunch of like semi-truck drivers were stuck in the initial jam, just turned their engines off, like all in both lanes of the highway, and just like took a nap. So like you've got two semis blocking the only way, even though the accident had been cleared for hours.
So they straight up fell asleep.
Yeah.
So was he like pounding on their windows to like wake them up?
Yeah. He got them moving, and then he just kind of started moving traffic like around, like because like, I think one of the trucks just kind of like pulled off to the side. But yeah. That's. I mean, he got it kind of broken up and sprinted back to the van, and
he's got a side job at the Poland Department of Transportation.
Dude, for real. Yeah, that was like I would not have thought to do that. You know what I mean? Like that's how useless again, that's just like how useless and like just fake I am. I'm just like, yeah, fuck it. I guess just sit in this van for 5 more hours.
So it was you, Tino, Mike, and George.
Yeah, that was who was playing for.
Did you have a driver the tour? Did you have a
No, which again was which a lot of people who have toured Europe were like, I'm sorry, what? Like we did not hire a driver.
Was it? Do they drive on the other side of the road? Depending on what country.
Why am I blanking on this? You would think this would be like a really obvious thing. No.
Drive on the right? Are they drive? Yeah, they drive on the right.
Yeah, we drove on the right.
Okay. I think in the UK it's left.
Yeah, the UK is where it got weird. You're correct.
Okay.
Wow, I can't believe it. See, that's just how like uncultured I am. I didn't even know that. But yeah. We didn't hire a driver.
You have a merch person, or was it just you guys?
We had a merch guy, and we were with the Cryptics too. So we had some personnel.
Okay, it wasn't just like 4 of you. All right, let's just go.
No, we had some people, but yeah. Again, like not hiring a driver, like that was like a Tino call, and yeah, he figured out how to get us like all over Europe all on his own.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and he's a machine.
Does not stop. He I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, I don't either. I always I'm always rooting for him, man. I hope one of his projects really takes off, man. That guy fucking grinds.
I feel like it's gonna be the Cryptics.
You would think. I mean, dude, they've been to they've been everywhere. Like they've literally been to Cuba.
Damn, he's just like, I'm just gonna take him.
Yeah,
he's gonna go.
He's totally out of control. Like I don't know how he does it. He's amazing.
Do you have any dream city spots for a Pig City?
I would love to play the Bay Area and not have the date canceled 3 fucking days before we are scheduled to play there. That'd be cool.
We'll get you guys sorted out up there properly.
Yeah.
When life can resume and not be sketchy and shitty.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I felt like that one was pretty that was a pretty low blow. I was like, all right. No, I was like, I will not forget that.
But yeah, do you have any dream countries that you'd want to take city into? Do you have any?
Definitely Poland.
Poland, yeah.
I think that would be a great place for us to play. Because we played in Poland and Slovenia, and both shows, like, once everybody calmed the fuck down, were actually like really good. So but no, all jokes aside, Italy is a really good place to play.
Love to go to Italy.
Yeah, the best shows that we played, in my humble opinion, were actually all just like the generic like club shows that we played in Italy. Those were insane. We played one on the side of a freeway too, and that was like sick as fuck.
Because I always hear about the squats in Europe, but you had a good time in the just straight up just normal clubs.
Yeah, we played a couple of punk squats as well. We played like a lot of DIY spaces. We played a lot of bars, and then we played 4 festivals.
We like to ask this: what's the best and worst thing you've had on tour, food wise?
Oh, shit. Yeah. So I'm like the pain in the ass. It's like vegan. So I've had falafel in like 10 different countries at this point, just because it's like usually like the easiest vegan thing to find.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Best thing I've ever had on tour. Fuck, man. You know what? The one of the punk squats we played in Germany, like this dude Freddie, like just like cooked up like this insane spread for us. And I remember that was some of the best food I had on the entire tour. I don't even know the correct names of like the dishes he made. It was all like very like German, like vegan centric food.
So it's was it just like German? Was it like vegan versions of German food, or was it like
sorry,
traditionally vegetarian vegan dish? Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
What was the worst thing tour ever? Any band?
Oh, dude, for sure. It was obviously with Slow Children. Fucking, I think the worst thing, dude, like we took like this, like, do you guys remember that band, the Maxis?
Yes.
Dude, we took their roadie on like our first tour, and he was like 30. You know what I mean? I'm like 17, and like he just like would not stop making like vegetarian jokes. And then he eventually put like canned chicken like in a quesadilla and told me it was like just cheese, like, and I ate that, and I was like, oh, dude, this sucks. So that was the worst. That was the worst thing. It's like some like 30-year-old man like thought that was like a funny joke.
But were you vegan at the time or vegetarian?
I was just vegetarian when I was doing.
Hey, if you're eating a
yeah
quesadilla, you'd be vegetarian.
Yeah, that was the worst thing. That memory still plagues me. It's just like, dude, what the fuck?
And also, canned chicken is generally not very good.
No, dude, like they put it like in there like super small, like so like I like wouldn't notice and stuff, and like I took a bite of it, and then they're like, oh, we fucking got you, like, oh my god, like.
Was it the rest of the band or just him?
It was him and then our drummer, which was not Justice at the time. It was a different guy.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
I know. So that was the worst thing I've ever eaten, just because I felt so duped. You know?
Yeah, it's fucked up. That's a fucked up thing to make you go through.
I know. It's just like, dude, like how the fuck are we like considered punks if you think that that's like a funny joke? But you know what I mean? Not to be like overly sensitive about it, but as you can see, I was just like, dude, like come on.
It's like damn, the Maxis stage presence, continues throughout their personalities.
There's no comment.
Are they still active?
I don't know.
I mean, as active as a band could be right now. I feel like everyone's dead.
Yeah, the last time I saw them was again like it was like one of the last Slow Children shows I ever played before I went to college, and we played with them. Like there's this bar called The Vibe in Riverside, and we played with them, and I just remember the one of their friends was like in the crowd, and he was like being a huge dick, like just in the pit, and then like somebody just like tried to step up to him. And then the singer of the Maxis like came and like tried to fight the other guy. And I just started like sitting thinking like, yeah, it's so how typical, like your friend's being the dick, but you're still just gonna jump in the crowd and defend him. But so I don't know.
Jesus. But do you have any like you were more of a Riverside punk then?
Yeah.
In Orange County or LA.
Yeah, I went to high school in Corona because I'm from Riverside. I went to high school in Corona. The whole reason for that is because Santiago High School has pretty much always had like a really solid roller hockey team, and so like I played like varsity roller hockey. Like I played ice and roller hockey like all throughout high school. So it was like I went there because my parents wanted me to be able to letter in a varsity sport. So it was really weird. Like I'm like, you know what I mean? Like I'm like way too like punk to hang out with all these like jocks, and then like I hang out with like all the punks, and like, dude, what is this guy's fucking problem? He's like way too much of a jock. And so I felt like I was constantly teetering between that.
You're playing one of the most punk rock sports you could.
Yeah, it's really funny. There's a lot of people who I grew up going to shows with, and like they like now are just like joining like an adult ice hockey league. It's like, oh my god. Like that Hard Times article that came out a while back is painfully accurate.
What was the title?
It's aging punk enters liking hockey phase.
I just feel like are you supposed to like sports as a punk? Are you not supposed to like sports as a punk?
I'm pretty sure as long as you're not being blatantly racist, sexist, or homophobic, you're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want.
That's fair.
I'm pretty sure that's a good thing to abide by.
That's fair.
Yeah. But the Riverside and Corona punk scene was actually, I remember I have good things to say about it. The Showcase Theater was still open, when I was growing up there, and so I got to see a ton of really cool shows, and we played a lot of house shows before I joined Slow Children, and a lot of those house shows were with Slow Children, and so yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Did you guys ever venture into LA or Orange County at all?
Not until I was in Slow Children, but yes, we did. We would play like the Cobalt Cafe. We played like D Piazzas when that was like a thing. What else did we play? We played a few. Yeah, played like all of them. We played the High Desert a couple times too, which was really funny. We played like Hesperia. Those dudes that play in that band Stay Wild. They used to have this band called Subvert, which was like really fucking sick, honestly. And yeah, we would like go up there and like play with them and like Authority Zero. That was pretty fun. Even though Authority Zero is from here, but I remember that was the show. It was like us, Authority Zero, and Subvert. Oh, and Naked Aggression too. That was cool.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was
Naked Aggression. It's funny you mentioned them because it's out like in California, like Orange County, LA. Like they play a show and like they'll headline, but it'll be like an okay show. They tour. It's like they're the biggest band ever.
Dude, they put the work in, man. They've
been around forever as well.
They're great. Yeah.
It's always just like it's funny that like you'll have a band from your area that they send me regularly, and it's like they're great, but it's like I could see them next month. Versus like when they go on tour and it's like shows that they wouldn't normally have here.
Yeah, I mean that's touring though, like I'm sure like you guys feel that way too. Like when you hit the road, you're like, oh fuck, people are actually like stoked we're here. Whereas like when you play a local show, it's like,
I think it's the exact opposite for us right now. I just feel like our it sucks because I felt like our local shows are finally starting to pop off, and then COVID, we were all excited about what this year was going to bring us, but
totally.
I mean, I'm sure that sentiment is felt unfold across the entire world of DIY music right now. But
I know, fuck, it sucks. It sucks. It sucks not being able to do like the only thing that probably makes like your horrendous day job, if you still fucking have it, tolerable.
You have a show to look forward to, or you have 2 weeks of touring to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's awesome. Like I said, like I'm I'm over here like making up for lost time, like somebody having like a quarter life crisis because I made the horrible mistake of doing the college plus grad school combo. So yeah,
what'd you major in?
Political science for both degrees.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans of what you want to do with it?
I'm doing it. I started Pig City.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, dude. I can't see myself like I can't justify working for some of these fucking people, man.
What do you do? What is a political science? What kind of job tracks do they normally kind of get as a political science major outside of teaching?
Yeah, so obviously there's that, which I did do that for like 1 year and it was awful. There's some people will go to law school shortly after. Some folks, like for example, like my girlfriend also has a degree in political science, and she works for the city of Phoenix currently. So you can do everything from like local government. You could work for like a nonprofit. You could work for an NGO. You can, of course, again, you can do like the law school track. You can become a paralegal if you're willing to get certified and work for a law firm. You can certainly teach. Their political science degree makes you pretty qualified for like history teach. Like if you want to be like a history teacher, for example. So
as like would you be like a consultant for the city?
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like there is that, like somebody who's like, for example, like I've seen some job postings in Phoenix that I think like the description was literally like policy analyst, if I'm not mistaken. So like there is stuff like that. Yeah, there's all kinds of avenues that you can pursue. But frankly, all of it, in my opinion, sometimes hits this like just this dead end of bureaucracy. So
would you be like, oh, I'm hey, we want to enact this law, can you look over it? Not as a lawyer, but as like is this sound, or is this or am I way off on like what you would be doing?
I think you're a little off. I think you would be it wouldn't be so much like, hey, is this a good thing to do? Like, you know what I mean? I think that's ultimately the issue, right? Is you're just like, you're constantly going to be, you're gonna help whatever institution you're working for continue to push out policies and procedures that ultimately protect them from everything, and regular people benefit almost in no way. And that's like a really, I should be clear, that's like a really, really like blanketed statement. You know what I mean? Again, like my whole thing was just kind of like, yeah, hey, what's up? Like, I'm Dylan. Like, I don't really like capitalism that much, like, let me work for you. Like, I just.
That's how I feel with a lot of computer science jobs.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's you. I mean, there's obviously you could work on video games, and that's a relatively neutral to positive thing on the world. Then then you start getting into like social networking, and then you're like, this kind of involves like big data and like data collection and analysis of people's data that they may or may not be willingly giving over to you.
Exactly.
Then you get into the real gray area of like, hey, this is a defense company. They're manufacturing bombs and planes.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I can't do this. Like I was at a job fair 2 weeks ago, and they had Raytheon was one of the people. It was virtual. I wasn't physically there breathing on people.
Good. Thanks for clarifying.
But Raytheon was there. They were there in full force. Like most jobs had like 1 or 2 people you could talk to. They had like 9. Like they were like, we are ready to talk. We want your kids. And I was like, I'm not even going to bother. I was like, I can't, no matter what project I'd be working on, I'm like, there's no way I could like deal with myself. If I was like, yeah, this company was involved with making bombs that killed people very regularly. And I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. No matter how good the job is or how good, there's constant defense work. And it's like, I can't do it.
Yeah, I feel very similarly, and pretty much I think every line of work that someone can get into is going to have a political connotation. We're entering an era where pretty much everything will be politicized in one form or another. I mean, like obviously, a virus has become politicized, which is insane. So, your line of work, who you work for, where they get their funding from, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it all paints kind of like it plays into the bigger picture. And so it's a pain in the ass trying to find a job that's not going to depress you to think about every day.
Do you want to be the no-time political analyst?
Yeah, sure. If that's something that you need, you can send me different. You can just like send me like different like articles or like news clips or policies, and I'll like be like, yeah, that sucks.
But like you got to look over band lyrics and be like, is this correct?
Yeah. Maybe I'll get a job at Gilman. Just kidding.
Checking. I don't think they do that anymore.
Yeah, I've heard it comes in waves. It just kind of depends on who's air quotes like working there, kind of like running the place. So
yeah, I know our friends Low Cash Ninjas had to submit lyrics, but the multiple times we've played there, we've never had to.
Yeah, Mike told me he had to submit lyrics for Standard Issue as well when he played there. So I think it just kind of depends on
booking you in one.
Yeah, I think so. But you know what? I mean, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, we specifically started this band to play spaces like Gilman. You know what I mean? So it's all good.
And to me, it's like with lyrics. It's like if you're gonna be so defensive about them, then like, why are you singing them?
Dude, totally.
It's like you were okay with this before, but now that someone's gonna not even challenge you, but just check to see like, hey, this is what this band's literally about. This is what they're literally saying.
Yeah.
This isn't an edgy piece of merch, or this isn't like an edgy Facebook post. Like, this is legitimately the words that your singer is wanting to convey to an audience. So it's like, it's not I don't think it's a terrible policy. It might be a little overkill in some people's eyes, but it's not. Probably weeds out more bands than you would think.
I completely agree with that. And I think, yeah, because I mean, again, I think that there is still a subset of people involved with punk or hardcore who just genuinely think just being offensive for the sake of being offensive is still this like very uniquely punk act and this thing to do. And yeah, to me, that's exactly who that's designed to kind of weed out. You know what I mean? Yeah. If yeah, so
You know, it's like on ass bands like the fucking like Mentors and shit.
yeah, I mean that's an easy, super easy example, totally.
Yeah, it was just like, yeah, you know what? Maybe we don't need these playing our all ages safe space.
Yeah. I mean, come on, nobody needs that, you know. But at the same time, it is interesting because I'm constantly like wondering, like, hey, like, well, like, what's the best way to like still make challenging hardcore and punk music when, you know, at this point, I feel like, you know, every band has always hated the cops, whether they're a political band or they're an apolitical band, and we're getting to a point to where every band is going to be sharing almost all of the same progressive ideals that are almost presented in pop culture now. So I kind of wonder, like, what is the best way to keep moving forward and to keep, like, again, just writing and making stuff that's solid and inclusive, but also challenging at the same time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like ideologies like really starting to overlap, regardless of like the literal sound of your music.
Yeah, because I mean, like, let's face it, like at this point, like, you know, at this point, the cast of Glee shares the same ideals as like most punk bands. Like, we need to accept that.
Yeah. So it'll be definitely, I think, an interesting like what. Sorry, I mean, the soundscape of like popular music is already changing anyway. It'll be interesting to see like what'll happen in like 2 years. Well, I say like 5 years, but like stuff is changing rapidly, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it'll probably be like more like 20 years when the virus is finally under control. We can all tour again.
And we can all, yeah. I don't fully expect. I honestly, everyone's like, oh, like I saw, that there was like this giant metal, one of those like butt rock metal festivals happening in Florida, announced for September of 2021, and I'm like, damn, they're like, that's like the bare minimum of when something like that would at all be okay. That's like that's like the quickest projection. Of course, it's fucking like Five Finger Death Punch is headlining.
Oh yeah, naturally.
It's like, yeah, I'm not fully expecting to tour until 2022.
Yeah, I think that's the safe projection. I'm like mildly optimistic that we might have like a vaccine by the end of the year. Then of course now we get into the nuts and bolts of how is it distributed, what groups get it first, all that good stuff.
I remember reading, it was on CNN, that was vaccines should be ready end of the year for frontline workers,
right?
And then more general population by like June.
Yeah, and it's going to be a process, but hopefully, I mean, I think it's obvious everybody that likes the same stuff that the three of us like is probably going to take it once they see that it's effective, because we want to get back to what we're doing with music.
And it's just like, fuck it, you don't want the vaccine? Cool, more for me.
Yeah, totally.
More for my friends who actually want to get this over with.
Totally. Yeah, it'll make everything from shows to, exercising your First Amendment rights to protest easier.
And I think definitely, and there's also going to be that weird time of like people kind of getting comfortable with going back out into groups. You know, you got to kind of. I know there's going to be people who are like, I'm going to a festival right now, but then there's going to be people like, I don't know about this DIY show. Like, I know it's more or less good, but you gotta kind of, people might need to ease into it, even after vaccine.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little while. So that's very sad.
Yeah. I have I don't think Fern and I have ever have any plans of even thinking about touring or trying to even think ahead into the future until shit's more grounded, and I think more bands should have that sentiment.
Yeah, dude, like there's already been like the first wave of like, because like obviously like, bigger professional bands, like they just have been like booking space like into like 2021, like just random like just venues for certain routes, just kind of taking the space up, and then like when a wave of cancellations happens, they just like their booking agent will just like rebook it.
Yeah. Well, that's the shit. That's the shit with as long as it's rescheduled, we don't have to refund you.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just inevitably just keep pushing back tours, forever and ever, and then it's like it's supposed to happen a year ago. I kind of want my money back. It's like no, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think a lot of bigger festivals and promotions have started giving money back. But I guess the only reason why I brought it up was just that first wave of 2020, 2021 tour cancellations for again like bigger like much bigger acts has kind of already started. So
Yeah.
The projection of okay, maybe 2021 is starting to be more likely.
Yeah. I've heard that like Live Nation's like we're gonna push as hard as we can, and I'm like you could push as much as you want. The vaccine, if it's not fixed, it's not fixed. People, if you can't have a festival just because you want one.
Yeah, I agree. I'm more concerned about just like everybody's employers starting to do that too. Like I feel like people are in complete denial.
Oh yeah, and how is Arizona with whole being in there from? Do people just not care? Is it at least in your? So are you in Phoenix?
I'm in Tempe, but that's like 15 minutes away from Phoenix. So yeah.
So Phoenix would be your like next largest city, or it's like the largest city you're closest to.
Totally, yeah.
How is that a more liberal city, more conservative? I know the desert is relatively conservative.
I would say as a whole, we're in a very conservative state. Like Tempe is close to ASU, so like I'm actually like in like the like again air quotes like liberal pocket, if you even want to call it that. But no, there's a lot of people who, like for example, like there's like a brewery that's like kind of by my house. I drive by it sometimes, and there are just always people there, And so
or like are they doing the balcony shit or like the
I mean like shit? They're doing like the patio shit, but like I don't know. To me, it's just bizarre. I mean, Arizona never really shut down in the first place. We've been like pretty much open since May.
Wow.
And
initial hit, and then you're like, all right, it's here.
Yeah. So it's not been good. A lot of like, for example, like one of my our bass player Heron he works in restaurants, and so like like he's like in a really conflicting spot because like he wouldn't go out and eat or go to a bar, but like now he like has to go back to work because they pretty much kicked everybody off unemployment because they gave the green light to all these businesses to reopen. And so it's just disappointing. Like instead of just letting people collect unemployment insurance, which they pay into, and wait till this thing is a little bit more under control, we're just no, like because capital can never sleep. You know what I mean? Like we just constantly need to drive people into the ground.
It's like that's how I feel with my work. It's like I would never go. I would never willingly go to my work right now as like a patron, but as a someone has to work. It's like I get to go every weekend.
Yeah,
I get to go deal with that, and I thankful I get to work outside, but it's just like it's literally the exact same plus masks, kinda.
Yeah.
It's iffy if my coworkers are wearing their masks. It's iffy if customers are going to wear their mask, and it's like I'm just going to fuck off away from all of you, and I am just going to not. It's like what you guys have in place is not good enough, and it's like I'm just going to try to do my best to stay away from as many people as possible because I actually want to take this seriously.
Yeah, I feel the same way. There's been a couple instances now where I've like just like tried to go out in public and like get something done, like thinking like, no, it's fine. Like, this place is going to have all these measures in place. They have to stay open, and you get in there and they just fucking don't. Like, I've just seen people like just like with their mask off, like, or like certain establishments are not having people spaced. out appropriately. I feel like everything is just open on this technicality, and obviously no one's going to enforce it.
Yeah, there's like a weird disconnect of like, I have to stay however far apart from my coworkers. I have to sanitize however many times. I have to keep the mask on at all times. And you guys are all just gonna go hang out at someone's house after. It's like such a
exactly.
It's like this weird disconnect of like, it doesn't get you at just work, you know?
Yeah, like, oh well, I know this person, so how could I possibly get this virus that we have no cure for from them?
And like, I get like you going over to like someone's house because you can trust like another person to be like, yeah, man, I'm not sick, or like I'm not feeling unwell.
Yeah,
And if they do unfortunately get it, they could be like, hey man, I got it, you should get tested, versus like, you know, going out to a public ass bar where it's all strangers.
Yeah, you can't. You can't let any of those people know if you made a mistake and went out and potentially got somebody infected. So, yeah. I mean, obviously, it sounds like I'm glad we agree. It's weird here. Like I said, it just seems like everyone has their own set kind of definition of what COVID safety measures look like, and I think that's why we've had so many problems. There's not really been a unified national response for it, and obviously, you know, we had like 60,000 new cases. I think today actually.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah, because we were back up to about 50,000 cases a day last week. So
is U.S. still number one in the world? Cases?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Somebody's gonna like listen to this and be like, he got his numbers wrong. But anyway.
I mean, by the time they hear it, it's probably gonna be worse. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I can't wait for any future employers to like Google my name when I apply for a job and they like listen to this talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can't wait for that.
And then like reading through Pig City lyrics and be like, huh.
Yeah, reading Pig City lyrics, old Cult Nation articles, like just like we're not fucking hiring this guy. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I forget that you also write for Cult Nation.
I do it all, baby.
What's it like working for a somewhat, I don't want to say somewhat, a very reputable metal magazine?
It's pretty sick. I haven't been contributing as much as I should, though. Admittedly, when I started doing it in 2014, they posted they were looking for writers. They wanted a writing sample, and they wanted you to pitch them like 3 or 4 ideas. So I sent in a writing sample. I pitched a couple articles that I would hypothetically do if like they thought it was cool. And they're like, yeah, fuck yeah, you think you'd be a great fit. So you do actually have to kind of know what you're doing, and you have to have like a good ear, and you have to know how to describe. Because like the thing that like burns me out is like I mainly do like music reviews and interviews, and it's just the same questions and the same buzzwords over and over again. I'm just getting fucking sick of it, and so I haven't contributed for a long time. It got to the point where like I would just like take in a band's record and just like write whatever, like just like write some insane story about like something I did that day over it. And just like submit it, like there's the album review, you know, like, and Relapse Records never emailed me again. That's true. Yeah, because like I reviewed like the new Mammoth Grinder record a while back, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking kidnap Chris Olsh, you know what I mean? They're like, whoa, like that's weird. So, it's gotten me in some interesting, like sometimes like, dude, I accidentally like spelled. I made like a horrible typo on one for like a festival I was covering, like in Tucson. Like I spelled the city's name incorrectly like 10 times in an article. Like it just never got proofread.
Oh God.
So like that one was like super embarrassing and annoying. But it's just like whatever, man. Like you fuck it. Like I've gotten to go to like a bunch of festivals for free. So it comes with some social capital, right? Like it's easy for me to network with people if I like if I show that card.
Yeah.
I don't like to. Sometimes I do. And Sean and Megan, the 2 founders of Cult Nation, are like 2 of the best people I think I've ever met in my life. They're so sick. You can obviously keep that part in the podcast, but they're great, man. So
Off record, how say you're like a pretty unknown DIY band, does magazine press really do much for you? Like,
If you get a
getting
bunch of it.
a bunch. Okay.
I mean, like, Cold Nation's page reach is pretty high on Instagram and Facebook. So is like Decibel. So is Mag. You know what I mean? Like the key is, and I learned this from fucking Gatecreeper, because Gatecreeper came out of nowhere basically. Like, let's be real. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, but fucking their vocalist Chase was like a booking agent for years, and he just like knew the game, and so he just spammed every publication he could think of when Gatecreeper first came off, Cult Nation being one of them. And so you want to reach out to as many people as you can that are like actual tastemakers, right? Like Cult Nation posts great bands all the time. Decibel posts pretty good stuff most of the time. Metal Sucks is just like totally like, I don't even know what Metal Sucks is. I don't know if I would send my stuff there. Where else is really great? Maximum Rock and Roll has actually been really kind to Pig City twice, believe it or not.
Wow.
I know. And so there's No Echo is amazing for hardcore bands. Like they'll get back to you. But like we're playing this game where you just constantly have to have something, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you're the shiny new toy on the internet today, but like, what are you gonna have for us tomorrow? You know what I mean? Because like when Terminal Decline came out, like we had like 3 or 4 pretty decent sites like reviewing it and talking about it. And I want you to know, like I sent that shit out like a press package to like, I mean, I don't even know how many publications. We got 4. We got 4 people to do it.
And out of how, like, just an unknown amount.
I think it was like well over like 20.
Wow.
I mean, I have a list that I was keeping for a while where I was like, all right, like let's just make sure that we send everything to these people. So I mean, I would say it's worth it, man. And like more and more, like we were joking earlier, more and more podcasts are popping up, more and more random like people on Instagram who like don't fucking play in a band, like they're just like a genuinely like attractive person that just like holds up a record. You know what I mean? Like you gotta get a hold of them, send them your shit.
Just get eyes on your band name,
dude. Yeah. Yeah. So to me, it's still worth it. But again, like I would ask this to everyone you have on the podcast, because I think you'll probably get a bunch of different answers depending on the people you have on.
Yeah. But to me, I always feel like the thing that gets you, obviously going viral in whatever sense that is. Virality is like the most, still is, for like getting popular. But I feel like the things that go viral, like session videos, where you're either playing incredibly well, or you're like, it's like a live show where you're just doing something insane.
Yeah,
whether it's Bandit fucking puking at the Pig Destroyer show, or if it's Wacko playing at Denny's. Like I feel like it's either you got, or if it's like Bridge City Sinners like covering St. Jane's Infirmary Super Solid, and it gets hella clicks. Like I just feel like it's you gotta, people need to hear your music,
Yeah, dude, and like, dude, the ultimate cheat code, like the Wacko at Denny's is the best example. Like people want to just like see like other people like just having a fucking blast for a band, and they're like, oh man, like I want to be a part of that. And so yeah, like that's great. Like for example, like you think of like that Turnstile set from This Is Hardcore. I think it was like 2013, 2014. Like it just got like it got so many views because like people are just going insane, and like that video helped take Turnstile to very popular hardcore band to like, oh, like this is like a very professional band that can tour anywhere.
Or you're like Harm's Way, where they're like, we're just gonna meme the fuck out of this.
Totally, dude. Like all that stuff. Like, I mean, with the exception of the obvious things, no press is really that bad for you.
Yeah, unless it's
again, with the exception of the obvious things.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, it's from 2014 was the video that I was speaking of. I was like, God, I really want to make sure I get date right because that matters so much to me.
your political science. It's all you're all dates and laws. You know?
I know. I'm like so insecure. Somebody's gonna hear this podcast and like, this fucking Dylan guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. You know what I mean?
It's funny looking through the music genres on Cult Nation, and none of that. You don't just have punk.
No,
It's all the subgenres.
dude. Yeah, I love that. I fucking love that because you know what I mean? Like, you tell someone like, oh yeah, it's punk, and I know you guys have heard this before. They immediately go, oh, like the Clash.
Oh, like Offspring.
Yep. And it's like, yeah, like, dude, both of those rule respectively, but like, we got it. You know what I mean? Like, dude, the subgenre to me is, I like it. I think it's sacred, and I think it clearly explains like what you're getting.
People, I know that people fall in like the subgenre argument is always like, yeah, it doesn't matter, and then other people are like, man, I fucking love being my niche ass thing.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I think it's cool. Again, as somebody who has written about music a lot, you know what I mean? Like, I can't just call everything hardcore punk and call it a day. It's frankly not accurate.
Yeah, and as someone who
punk, like, no, it's not. Like,
and as someone who runs a record label, it's like I have to deal with so many different bands from so many different genres that it's like, sure, I can like, sell a Power Violence record to like the grindcore kids, but it's like I can't just call my label blanket the punk because it's like you're not a whole, it's not all bands that just sound the same. It's they're all over the fucking place, and I very much like and respect subgenres because to me I like categorizing music. I like organization of works, and it's a good jumping off point.
Yeah, me too. I feel the exact same way. I'm okay with it. I also have no interest in arguing with somebody who doesn't want to do that. That's cool too. Like I had a friend who just like everything like you could fucking play him. You play him Insect Warfare, and he'd be like, "Yes, punk rock." Like, yeah, definitely. You know what I mean? I'm just like, all right, fuck it. Like next.
Yes.
And then like you play like the Suicide Machines, and he's like, "That's fucking punk rock." Like, okay, yeah, definitely, for sure, man. Yeah. You know. But like, like, who cares? Like, because he loved it. He was okay with all of it. And he like wanted to hear more. So it was like, yeah, all right. I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not gonna be like, actually, this is grindcore.
This is actually gore noise. Okay.
Yeah.
You hear how he's
exactly.
how he's screaming. And if you look at the album art, his bone is sticking out. That makes it gore. But you hear how it's really fuzzy. That's actually adding the noise elements to it. Now this is different than gore grunt and.
Yeah, so and that's right. I just have no interest in doing that unless somebody goes, please explain that. Which sometimes that'll happen, and that's cool.
I find I enjoy music genres and the categorization of music or giving music genres for the sake of categorizing it. I think it's important, and I appreciate it, and I know some people don't, but each their own. All right, Dylan, thank you so much for coming on. If you want to shout out your socials, wherever people can find Pig City and Cult Nation and everything that you do.
Yeah, dude, thanks. Yeah, it was fun. I love just getting together and bullshitting about this stuff. Obviously, Instagram is Pig City AZ, and I mean, yeah, same with Cult Nation as well. It's not even my project, but you should follow us anyway. You can occasionally read my poorly written articles. So yeah, dude. Tommy, Fern, like, thank you so much for having me on.
Of course. I feel you with getting the Pig City AZ because we're Corrupt Vision OC. Hey,
it matters, you the people need to know where to find you. You know what I mean?
Well, we couldn't get Corrupt Vision, so. Oh, God, Dylan, thank you so much. Have a good night, duder.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later. 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 All right, man. I'll talk to you later.